Hello everyone. Now, I'm aware that the world is kind of having a bit of a moment right now, and I'm aware that being stuck inside isn't great, and that a lot of us are very, very, very bored. But what better time than now than to start a brand new hobby? Or more specifically, call me biased, join the furry fandom. I think that, personally, the furry fandom is the best thing that's ever happened to me. I probably wouldn't have as much personality or as many friends as I do now had I not decided all of those, 3 years ago, that I was going to be a furry. However, joining the furry fandom can be a little bit overwhelming to some people because you don't know what to do first. So I'm going to be making this video series that's going to have, I think, 5 parts, basically telling you a step-by-step guide of everything you can do in the furry fandom. You don't have to follow along in the same order, you can switch around the order if you feel like it. But this first episode is probably the only one that I would say is mandatory. In this episode, I'm going to be telling you how to make your fursona. Obviously, you don't technically need a fursona to be a furry. However, if you want to be considered a furry by everyone else, first off you need to, call yourself a furry and decide to be one. And secondly, you need a fursona. Now, I hear a lot of people don't know when to start when making a fursona, and it can be a little bit challenging because you want to throw everything together really quickly and hope that it works, because that's all you really know how to do if you have no previous character design background. However, don't do that, because you're going to end up changing it anyway. Nobody's first design for their fursona is the end-all, nor is it their favourite or the one that they stick with. My fursona, personally, I'm going to put a picture of her here, went through about 2 years of changes before I finally decided on one that I liked. So, yeah, as you can tell, it's not that easy. But you can change it, and you don't have to stick with the first one you make. So, how do you get started? I hear a lot of people complaining already that I can't draw, or I don't know how to draw. But you don't need to know how to draw. There are things that you can use called free-to-use bases. Basically, just Google free-to-use base, furry, and then the animal that you want to have as your fursona, or don't put an animal if you don't really know which one yet. Download it, put it into any drawing app, and there you go. You don't need to draw, you just need to colour. If you don't want to do that, there is also adopts. Adopts are characters that other furries in the fandom have made with the intent of selling them or giving them to people so that they can use them as their characters. The other thing is, a lot of the time, to get a really, really good one, you might have to pay up just a little bit, that little bit extra, but if you don't want to pay any money, there is plenty of digital types of money, like amino coins, DeviantArt points, and plenty others, that people will be happy to work for. If not, you can also find people who will do them for free. There's going to be at least one person who will be very happy to make you your fursona, custom made, for free, or to just give you any of their old adopts that they don't want for free, so you can get started in the furry fandom. I personally really like doing this. I always have a couple of character designs saved in my phone that I don't want to use, just so that other people can have them if I end up finding somebody who needs it. On top of all of this, if you can't find a character design you like that somebody else has made, you can always make one yourself. If you know how to draw, or even if you don't, you can definitely design a fursona yourself. It's not that difficult. Just find a few design aspects that you like, throw them together, and see which ones stick. You'll be surprised that sometimes when you go through hundreds and hundreds of variations of a character, a few design elements tend to come back repeatedly. For me, the colours red, purple, grey, black and white seemed to be repeated in all of my designs. So I decided to just go with it and use all of those colours as well as a few others when I was making my most recent version of my fursona, which I made about a year ago, and she is my main fursona and I love her and she's perfect. Now, your fursona for a while is probably going to look a little bit whack. And you're going to look back on those days when your fursona looked weird and cringy, and you're going to hate it. But if you're happy with it at the time, no matter what everybody else says, if somebody tells you you look like somebody else's character, or your character's not original enough, or you use too many colours, just ignore them because it's your character, not this other person's character. So if you like it, that's fine. Even if in the future you decide you hate it, that's fine because you liked it at the time, and it's your character. You decide how it looks, you decide if you like it or not. Nobody else can have any say in that whatsoever. Back on the topic of adopts, you can change the design of an adopt. If you buy an adopt and eventually fall out of love with part of its design, or find part of its design too difficult to draw, or whatever it is, you can still change it because it's your character. You can now do what you want with it. So, you know, unless the person who gave it to you has specifically said that you're not allowed to change the design, which I don't see why anyone would do that, then you can change it. And by the time you've come up with something you're happy with, it will probably look completely different from what you started with. Nobody's first Fursona is their final Fursona. Just keep that in mind, okay? With that, you now have a few tips that you might need to make your first Fursona. Whether you use a base that you found somewhere else, you buy a base from somebody, you buy an adopt, you find a free adopt, or you just make it completely yourself, it's your character at the end of the day, and no matter what other people say, there's nothing they can do to change it. So unless they are giving you actual constructive criticism, like maybe don't put purple and beige right next to each other because that looks a little bit weird, try this instead, you can probably ignore them. Although don't obviously ignore constructive criticism because they are just trying to help at the end of the day. But if they're just saying, you look like a Majira Strawberry clone, then you can ignore them because it's your character. So I hope that helped at least one person make their first Fursona. And I just want you to keep one thing in mind, something that I've been forcing on you since the beginning of this video. Nobody's first Fursona is their final Fursona. You can change it if you want, and don't listen to people that tell you you look like somebody else, because I get that all the time, and it's annoying. I'm gonna go now because it's really hot. Bye-bye!
Ooh, look at this. That's the end card. This is just to say that my ARC missions are currently open. It's the best way to support me, and they're pretty cheap, so if you're interested, please go have a look. Hey, who knows, maybe any money I get is going towards a certain surprise I have planned. My prices are up on my Instagram of Furry Amino, so message me on either platform and we can sort something out. Thank you so much for watching. If you made it this far, you're the best. I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye!